And a good morning to everybody. We are wide awake here at the Dice Tower Studios. I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Wendy Yee.
I'm Chris Yee.
I guess I'm wide awake. I'm feeling fine.
I'm feeling good, I think.
I went home and crashed on Saturday.
Friday
night. I crashed Friday night. I woke up normal on Saturday. And then Saturday afternoon, I took a nap.
Saturday night, our neighbor decided to have their car alarm go off 10 times at 3:30 in the morning. So we lost sleep again.
It was, I was in bad shape yesterday, but I'm in good shape today, I think. You be the judge of that.
Have you talked to your neighbor about this? Because I might.
It keeps happening.
It's been like a few weeks since it happened last.
Yeah, there keeps being big breaks. And then last week it happened multiple times. So I don't know.
Steal the car.
It's a relatively new car too. They just put plates on it.
I had a lot of bad thoughts at about 4 o'clock in the morning. So that's why I did not talk with my neighbor, is because 4 o'clock in the morning, Chris, would not be a pleasant neighbor to talk with.
Anyway, welcome to Board Game Breakfast, where we are awake right now. And hey, this particular episode is sponsored by Pandasaurus Games. You can see one of their newest release games, Roller Coaster Rush, but we're talking about an upcoming game from them called District Noir. So this is a game, this is coming to America, this game. You're the head of the city's largest criminal organizations. Men and women fight to control territories and gain support by trying every means possible to grow their influence. So the center, the District Noir is the central area that everyone's going to fight over. This is coming to retail July 19th, and you can pre-order the game now, or you can win a copy of this now. So all you have to do to win a copy of this is email us at contest@dicetower.com. In the subject line, put the word noir, which is spelled N-O-I-R, and you need to answer this question in the body. You also need to give us your address in case you win. How many location cards are there? The answer is between 1 and 1 trillion.
Way to give away the answer.
Actually, there has to be at least 2, because they would say, is the answer to, I guess it could be 1. Well, okay,
When we played Stay Cool, I had a question that was like, how many A's are in whatever long word? And the answer was 1.
I guess that's grammatically correct. Well, now you know there's at least 2. Okay. Well, anyway, that's our contest. Other than that, if you missed joining it last week, we have a Discord that you can join and talk to different people, and lots of people joined it. We have a newsletter you can sign up for. That's DicetowerDigest.com. Go sign up for that. And we have news you can listen to. All sorts of things are happening. Z's playing an app later on at 10 o'clock. I'll be doing a Q&A at noon. And this week, we are doing a pre-recorded top 10, but this top 10 includes the famous Michael DeLisio. We're doing our top 10 board game expansions, which is convenient because I'm also talking this week about what I look for in an expansion. We'll do some behind the scenes from the 36-hour marathon that we just ran. Lots of reviews of various games. It will be a good week.
There's also one other very big thing starting this week, Tom.
You're right. Thank you. I knew that. Top 10s. So we have a lot of top 10s.
100s.
Top 100s would make more sense. Top 100s are starting this week. So we're going to have them go up on various days. So today you will see Eric Summers, 100 to 91. And then later this week you will also see Roy, Joey, Wendy, Chris, and Camilla's 100 to 91. And each week for the next 10 weeks you will see more of these top 10s. Culminating
100s.
Top 100s. Well, they are top 10s. They're just parts of hundreds. It's technically true. So is it, how many A's are in that long word? Anyhow.
1.
And culminating in the Summer Spectacular, which is apparently 10 weeks away.
I guess so.
So
that should be what that means, if you did
Start
your math
your timers.
correct.
And our final announcement is yesterday, Gen Con registration opened. And the Dice Tower Awards will be given out live at Gen Con on Thursday night. And there are only 600 seats available, and it's already down to like 150. So,
wow.
It's going to be a fun show.
Get them. It will be fun. Or at least we'll see. I don't know the winners yet because all the votes aren't in.
It'll be fun, or at least we'll see.
That was a thing, right?
Yeah.
Well, what I mean is, you know what? It'll be fun. So
it will be fun, at least for us, I think is what you're trying to say.
That's all my many, many announcements. Let's get started with the show.
Hi, it's Tarrant.
And Stella from the Dice Tower and Meeple University. Isn't Gizmos one of the best engine building
of all time?
It's a neat little game.
Have you played it? If you haven't, come on, please play Gizmos. So it's not because the cute dispenser of the game.
Although that is pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. But it's also, well, especially it's the engine build where you take the cards, you can chain reaction your engine, and it just feels so good. Have you feel like that for this game or any other engine building games?
Yeah, the game has a very Splendor feel in terms of you're gaining resources, you're completing small contracts from the
Yes.
supply. But each contract you get is either going to let you get contracts more quickly or get marbles more quickly or put marbles onto gizmos more quickly, and there's a couple of other conversions and things that you can do. So gradually you'll be building up a specialization which will drive you towards victory.
And the game is by Phil Walker Harding, which is in our country.
Yes.
I was like, not a lot of Australian designers that you all recognize perhaps, but Phil is very prolific with the games like Sushi Go, Sushi Roll, Sushi Go Party, Gizmos, Kakao, and so on. So check it out if you haven't. You miss out. If you love engine building, please do play Gizmos. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.
All right, 30 years ago, the game is Almond Ray, which has been remade once by Tasty Minstrel, and then this year, the 20th anniversary edition is coming out, which is shocking because it's 20 years ago. This is a game I give an 8.5 to. I think it's one of Reiner Knizia's best, if not his best game.
Was it your number one on your top 100 Knizia games?
Well, me and Mike combined ours, so I don't remember which was number
okay.
one. It could have been something higher. And
Would it have been Raw?
no, because my RAW was not as high when we made that list. It has since gone higher.
Gotcha.
And also I have Through the Desert ranked very highly, so it might have been Almond Ray. So anyway, have either of you played Almond Ray?
I have not.
No, I've not. This is another auction one, right?
Yes, but this is one that, you know, I often talk about these games and say, I don't know, you guys should play them. I think you should play Almond Ray. I don't know. It says, yeah, it's a 3 to 5 player game, so you need to play it with at least one other person. That would have been a good one to play live. Let's go back in time.
Let's do that. Yeah, let's just
Next
start.
year, make the list.
40 hours. 40
is
hours
a-
starting tomorrow.
So it's an auction game, but it's an auction game that's similar to Vegas Showdown and Cyclades, where you there's like different numbers you can auction. You put your token on it to show, so you can't just say 1, 2, 3.
I haven't played either one of those.
what's the Nauvoo game? Stockpile.
Stockpile.
Oh, okay.
It's that kind of the auction.
oh, okay.
All right. There's one of those. That's actually one of my favorite ways to auction because it keeps things from going too long, and it's a little bit of like, ooh, do I just go one higher? Because if I go to 3, Chris will go to 5, and I was willing to pay 5.
Sure.
I
so
like that a
jump
lot.
to
But it
5.
also means auctions aren't dragged out. So in this game, there's different areas on the board. They all give different rewards, but you're also building pyramids. The pyramids are worth points, and you're auctioning off to get these things and build it up. Halfway through the game, the whole board gets wiped, except for the pyramids. They all stay there. It's like a new generation. And then these properties come up again, you auction for them again. And it's very interesting on, well, I was controlling this region, now I
Is that
don't
like
control
a
it all.
plague went through and
It's like a new generation, I don't
Okay.
know. And also then there's like an offering phase where you're all offering, and you get, the more you offer, the better benefits you get. But if you don't offer, Almond Ray slaps you and you lose some money. But that might be better than giving up stuff. It's not a complex game. It looks more complex than it is. It's simple, but it offers meaningful choices. I really like it. Also, it has cool pyramids.
pyramids.
Auctions, I know, are not Wendy's favorite
Nope.
mechanism, but you have enjoyed more where there are those like
Yeah,
preset
I enjoyed
values and-
Stockpile more than other auction games.
I also lean towards auctions with nice parameters. That's
Sure.
why I like Raw. That's why I like Almond Ray. That's why I like Stockpile.
I like games where during the auction, I can clearly see what something's worth.
Yes,
And I feel
agree.
like it's easy for me to look at that setup and I'm like, yes, I understand what each one of these areas is worth
Yeah, that's an
in
interesting
relation
one.
to each other.
Who is doing the 20th anniversary edition? Alley Cat is. Okay.
Oh, that's right.
They must have kickstarted it. Did they? Or is it out already?
Who
No,
did the
it's-
raw one?
That was 25th Century,
25th,
and
okay.
they did fantastic. Alley Cat has some really great production on some of their games, so yeah, I think that they should be able to do a very good job with that one.
Oh, they got Detroit on the cover. That's a good start. Let me see if we can find a picture of... Yeah, it looks nice. And if it doesn't look nice, my copy already is good.
Yeah, it's a 3-player minimum count that has hindered Wendy and I from playing a lot of games.
It's hard.
But yeah,
I'll play the
that's
third
one.
player.
But
I'll
also a
teach this one to you
two-person
guys.
auction is no good. So
I agree.
Right.
Usually. The Lost Cities one works. The Lost City Rivals, I think it's called. I forget what it's called. It's a newest one that has a little bit of auction, but it works for 2 players.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
It's more like a no thanks type auction. That's why you're like, who is going to drop out first?
Oh, it's like a plain chicken.
Sort of, yeah.
I think Joey just brought in a copy of that. Maybe I'll snag that.
Yeah.
I like stealing things from Joey.
I also like stealing things from Joey. Joey, your desk is gone.
I stole Strike from Joey. That made me happy.
Joey steals things from me.
That's not stealing. You did Joey a favor there. All right, let's move on.
Happy breakfast, everyone. Today I'm here to talk to you about something wild. Now, I've got these 2 versions. We've got the sort of Marvel Spider-Man and the Baby Groot with a little Christmas hat on here. I've got these 2 versions, and they're very small, family weight card games. It's as simple on your turn as draw a card from the top of the deck and play one into your play area. You're going for sets, and in this game, that is, if they're in the same colour, like a run, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or if the cards are different colours, you're looking for the same numbers. You can trade those in as a set, discarding it to claim a power card. The power cards are what's twisting this up a little bit. Maybe if you've got the power card, it's going to allow you, if you have the mover, you can activate, so this one of the Spider-Man cards, if you've got the Spider-Man mover, you can activate it to score just any 3 red cards, for example. So slightly sort of breaking the rules with those powers, and you're going to get the movers by playing the right colour card or a number 1. The game is that simple, and I do think families are going to enjoy this one, as it's going to level the playing field. It really doesn't matter if you're an adult, a kid, it doesn't matter, because there's that luck from the top of the deck. Yes, with the sort of ways to sort of maybe mitigate a little bit of luck and get those power cards and activate the right one, your choices do still somewhat matter. You also get the thing where, right, I can only have 5 cards in my play area. I'm going to play this card, discard that one, and then the next time you draw a card and you're like, if I still had that other card, I could have scored a set. So sometimes your choices, luck-based choice, sort of almost come back to haunt you. You get some power choices. It's good for families, and I think that's who's going to enjoy something wild. Anyway, until next time, enjoy the rest of your breakfast.
Hey there everyone, it's Jen, the board game librarian, flipping some pages and pushing some cubes with my segment from the page to the table where I pair books and board games together. This week we are taking a look at Jennifer Chiaverini's The Women's March. This book follows the 1913 women's suffrage procession, which I'm a history person over here and I had not heard about it, so I always love those moments. We have Maud Malone, we have Alice Paul, and we have Ida B. Wells Barnett as our 3 storylines in here. And the struggles and hurdles that they are looking to overcome to, first of all, make it to the procession, and just their own stories in terms of how they each are really helping with the women's suffrage cause. Now, this was one that I've been anticipating since it was announced, and I'm so happy it is in my house. Votes for Women. A game for 1 to 4 players, 60 to 75 minutes, ages 14 and up. If you like games that are really card driven and where they have the options like 1960, where you can either do the event or use the card for a different action, then Votes for Women I think is going to be for you. And if you're someone who likes games with historical themes, this will just add on to it. A lot of things to really like in this game, of which was the card-driven game, but really the true tug of war that you feel between the suffragettes and the opposition. It's a game that's really going to make you think, too, especially if you are playing the opposition. That is all for this week, friends. Happy breakfast.
All right, folks, let's jump to my computer here as we randomly look at a game on Board Game Geek.
Keys ready?
Oh, man, I forgot to hide those. I couldn't remember why you guys had used them.
3, 2.
Wait. It's not on Tom's computer view yet.
Yeah, we're going to look at my screen a second. It is on my computer.
I was like, you, Tom, should be the one leading out on when we hit the
3,
button.
2, 1, I'm hitting it now.
That was slow.
Word Storm from 2008. 2 ratings and 3 comments.
Ooh, lightning.
Players simultaneously draw and play random letters vertically and horizontally to build a crossword. It sounds a lot like bananagrams.
On a big
It's Scrabble.
Scrabble-esque board. Are all the tiles just dumped in a pile in the middle of the board?
Oh, can you grab whatever letters you want?
You know what, though? Let's give this guy credit. He's letting his children sit on different sides of the table than him.
That's true.
He is making them sit on the floor, though.
Yeah, they're like a couch.
The number of people who play games on the floor in advertisements is insane. I cannot, I could get down there, but I'm never getting back up.
We used to play Dominion on the card table all
Does
the time. Or, sorry,
nobody
on
play
a coffee table.
games at their normal table?
So, the other day, where was it? Where Z was talking about, being interested in getting like a coffee table to play games on. We didn't have time for me to talk about this, but my brother's place had
did for a long
Dominion
time.
set up permanently on his coffee table in the living room. We played there. Our backs ached because we just kept leaning over, playing, shuffling the cards and everything. We played that way for months. And then I was like, wait a minute. This would be more comfortable on that real table. And it was. And we lived happily ever after.
We didn't own a real table for many years in our marriage because we just were in a small place, and so all we had was a card table. So we always played our games on
No,
card table.
I had a
Or
card.
not card table, sorry, on a coffee table.
But you could have bought a card table. Those are cheap. That was my first table.
Well, younger Chris didn't know that, Tom. I thought they were against the law.
My first table. That's cute.
No, seriously, Laura and I's first table was definitely
A folding card table.
a card table.
We had a
Yes.
card table for a long time after that, and then we had like this table topper a friend had made that we'd stick on top of it and it would make it whiter.
All right, let's look at another one, because this is fun.
Word storm.
Come on, get your keys out. It's not going to work, Wendy, if you don't do yours. All right, here we go. I pressed it. Beethoven's Second, but this is based on the amazing movie.
That's a 3.5.
Oh my goodness.
It has enough ratings to actually have a rating.
The Puppy Roundup game. It's a how.
I'm sure it is.
Woo!
Do you domino and move? That's what it looks like.
Based on the movie, it's hard to see how it works.
Oh,
I like
have
those
my
little
guesses.
player trays. Our colors, though, that's nice. Those
Candyland
kids,
for
I was
dogs.
to say, those kids escaped from Candyland.
Yeah.
They also look like they're escaping. Give me away.
Oh man, that looks great. What's the description?
Beethoven and Missy, I don't think I've seen Beethoven Second.
Do they have mechanics listed?
Their names are Mo, Dolly, Chubby, and Tchaikovsky.
Woo! Got it. All named after famous composers.
Has anyone rated this game? Okay, let's see the comments. Oh, they're just talking about what's missing. Pre-BGG. This person's like, look. I didn't know.
That's a person who feels like they have to log every game they've ever owned.
I do.
Ever.
I did.
Wow. Like
I
from
stopped logging them as
childhood.
own now because of the whole Dice Tower thing.
Yeah.
Oh my
But I
goodness.
rate everything. Old, new. So, all right. Well, that's our random games for the week, folks. Don't buy either.
Hey everybody,
Hello, we are Ryan and Bethany.
from Ryan Bethany Board Game Reviews.
All right, today we're talking about Wonder Woods. This game, what you're doing is you are going out and you're hunting for mushrooms. There is 4 different kinds of mushrooms, and because this is a magical woods, they're always in season. All right, but what you're going to be doing is you're going to be drafting these mushrooms by putting your baskets out there. That you're going to get increasingly more expensive the further out you go. So things get more and more scarce, a little bit harder to find, takes a little bit more time to find them, which I think is a great little thematic tie-in, right? But on top of that, they have a value behind them. 1, 3, 5, or 7, and you don't know which value has been assigned to which mushroom. And everybody has a little bit of information about how much each mushroom is worth, but nobody has all the information. And so what you're doing is you are trying to figure out which mushrooms are the most valuable, which ones are the least valuable, and you're also trying to figure out what everybody else knows that you don't know.
Yeah.
There's also this great decision point that happens in the game where you can give up some of your information that you have in order to get more of these little baskets, which are essentially the way that you purchase more mushrooms. So I love that kind of that tension of, do I give up some knowledge in order to get more ability to purchase, or do I hold that back to myself and just let them kind of suffer out there?
This worked really great with our family. So we have a 6-year-old and a 9-year-old, and it worked really well with all 4 of us. And I didn't feel like it was something to where we could overpower them or we were smarter. They understood that they had secret information that we didn't have, and were able to play that very effectively.
I think this is the Monty Hall problem, right? Have you heard of this thing where you've got a suitcase, right, that has money in it, and you reveal a different suitcase, and you try to figure out if that's, which other suitcase has money in it. It's this big, long thing, right? It's trying to explain in this sort of amount of time is, I'm going to not do it justice. But basically, this is the Monty Hall problem, multiplied out, and I really enjoyed trying to solve that puzzle, trying to figure out that math, trying to play the probabilities with what information I had and what everybody else was doing around the table. I enjoyed that a lot.
Well, everybody, if you want to hear more from us, you can find us on YouTube. We are Ryan and Bethany at Board Game Reviews. But before we go, I am really curious which of you out there actually like to eat mushrooms. I think I like mushrooms, but then I have mushrooms, and I'm like, I don't think I like this. So drop a comment. Let me know if you eat mushrooms.
I'm sure they're healthy, but they're
curious.
also slimy. So
yeah, I'm just really curious. All right, everybody. We will see you next time. Have a great breakfast.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
What a smooth ride through the Dice Tower Library.
All right.
All right, let's take a look at the shelf. Here we go.
Okay, today's shelf is shelf 20A, and this is my intellectual property IP shelf. First, we'll start with the King of Tokyo. We have Mega King of Tokyo. Everything that I have, including monsters from around the world, upgrades, all sorts of stuff is in my King of Tokyo collection. You want to play the full King of Tokyo experience, that's it. Then we just have a regular King of Tokyo here, in case you don't want to mess with all the extra stuff. The Dark Edition King of Tokyo. And then the new one that came out last year, King of Monster Island, which was the King of Tokyo with a cooperative version. Next to King of Tokyo, of course, is Godzilla. That makes sense. Here we have Back to the Future, Back in Time. Unfortunately, this is the only Back in the Future. There's a lot of the games out there. This is the only one I think that really is good enough to put in the library. Next to that, we have On Tour. Although this box is kind of fat, there's a thinner, newer version from Allplay that we'll probably replace this with. Portal. Portal's a game a lot of people, it just sounds like a bad game. It's not really. An interesting board game. Red Dragon Inn. That's not my cup of tea necessarily, but I know a lot of people like this one. Minecraft Builders and Biomes. I know there's a lot of Minecraft games out. We'll probably add more of them to the library eventually. Jaws. This is based on the popular Jaws movie, and Die Hard. And then in between, we have the Horrified series. We have Horrified, a cooperative game where you're fighting against the Universal Studio monsters. Horrified American Monsters. And then a special one that we use different files and things off the internet to build called Terrified, which uses more modern villains, or, more modern, I guess, than the Universal monsters. So anyway, that's shelf 20A.
You didn't even talk about Die Hard.
Well, I mentioned it. I said Die Hard. It was based on the Die Hard movie. See, Die Hard. See, the thing about Die Hard is it's a decent game to play once. So that's why it's in the library. Because you're not going to want to play it over and over. You're playing through the movie. It's fun. I just can't see you playing it multiple times. But good for a con.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Easy choice for me here at King of Tokyo. I like lots of the other games, but King of Tokyo is still really solid game. And I like playing with all the extra stuff.
King of Tokyo never did it for me.
I'm not even a little surprised at this.
Okay. Well, it just never did. I tried it so many times. On Tour, though, I did enjoy.
I like King of Tokyo a lot, almost more than I feel like I should, but it's just such a fun time, and I played it at a friend's birthday party with 6 people, and I don't know, it just had so many good experiences with it. My favorite, I think, for myself is Horrified.
And I thought
Yeah, it's such a
Fights.
good little cooperative game. I don't know. I like that there's some elements of pick up and deliver and stuff, but also like moving the scared people around and be like, get out of the way. Get over there and I'll take care of business here.
I appreciate how it's thematically tied in. Like the stuff you have to do to get the monsters under wraps are very thematic.
Like the Mummy.
Like the Mummy.
So there you go, folks. What's your favorite? Let us know in the comments. That's another shelf in the Dice Tower Library.
Hey, I'm Jordan. This is Pollen from All Play. Now, this is a great game to play on a weeknight. This is a redone version of Samurai the card game, which is an older Reiner Knizia title. I've never played Samurai the card game, but I did play a lot of Samurai when I was first getting into games. I had a buddy that had it, and we played it a lot. This one really does feel similar to that, where you have these tokens that are going to be out on the board, and instead of hex tiles that you're putting out, you're putting these square cards, and the cards are going to create a grid across the board, and you have these round tokens that kind of sit in the corners of those cards. And once a card is fully surrounded, then you're going to see who has majority symbols of the different bugs. And for Pollen, of course, this is a bug-themed game, or flower themes, bugs, flowers, nature themes. And you are going to see who has the most, and then you take these tokens. The scoring is a little wonky. It's the person who has the most majorities at the end of the game instead of just most symbols, but whatever. It does. I think it does work. This game is one that has really been a lot of fun in my family. It is one that we can play with the kids, and they pretty much get the strategy, I think. I think they're getting better at it. But they just love the idea of playing a game about flowers and bugs. It has a really pretty look to it. And my kids really, they like flowers, they like bugs, they're into that. And it plays super quickly. They really understand, put a card down, whatever is surrounding it, whoever has the most of certain bug symbols, you get that token, and then you get these really cool chunky wooden pieces. And this is a game that has been called by name by my kids. It says 11 plus. None of I guess my oldest is 11, but my younger kids play this just fine. And it comes, and they're pretty normal kids. This one just keeps coming out because of how accessible it is, how cool it looks, and I'm just really happy about that. So Pollen, definitely a wonderful game for us. I'm Jordan. Thanks.
This is a segment where we take a look at a board game based on an IP, and I tell you if the IP and the mechanisms match. Today, we're looking at A Goofy Movie. The game ends when Power Line gets all the way to Los Angeles. Each of their players have another turn. Then whoever has the most points will win. You score points by picking up these tokens, by collecting cards, and they each score differently, or by being the first one, or the order that you come into Los Angeles where you score you points. On your turn, you're going to have 4 cards in your hand. You can pick one of the cards to play, and everybody will reveal that card at the same time. Whoever has the highest number and a color will gain the card corresponding to that color. Then everybody will move based on who played the smaller cards. So the 8s will go before the 9 and 12. Then you can move one space. If you have to move somewhere and somebody's there, you always skip over them. Each of the colored balloons will give you a card from up here, which is the main thing what you're doing is card collecting. Sometimes you'll roll on a die, then you'll simply roll the dice and move. This will usually move Power Line up on this track, which is the trigger to the end of the game. And if you get a Goofy symbol, you will be able to grab a card from whatever spot Goofy is on. The movie and the game really sort of don't go together. They kind of do. So the bones are there where you're going across the country to get to the concert in order to impress the girl, but the dad wants to go on a father-son trip. That part is not here. Instead, Goofy's across the top, and you're the 4 kids, and you're going across the country by yourself, and you're set collecting cards, and you're playing hand cards for the hand management. Not really sure that aspect works. Now, the rock and roll is here, the cross country is here, the pictures are here, the setting is here, but what you're doing and how the kids are competing to get there versus the father-son trip, which is really the heart and soul of the movie, is not here. So those of us that love the movie, remember this from a child, and have grown up with it, have that nostalgia factor, are going to have a lot here that you like, but it's about 75 to 80% of the movie and not the whole thing. The story, the heart, the soul of it will not be found here. On that regard, it's still a fun family game. If you have that mainstream kind of fun aspect to it, lighter game, but takes some modern mechanism and adds it in. It's not a bad children's game or family game to play with your younger gamers, especially if they're fans of Disney, the Goofy, or generally the Goofy movie. This could be a hit, but the IP just misses its target on this one.
All right, this is the first of 2 reviews of Zelda
Or 7.
Tears of the Kingdom. No, what I mean is we'll come back in, I don't know, months and do a review of it when we finish it. Or I'm going to finish it.
I will, but I'm going to be so distracted with every shiny object that you can get to in this game.
I don't know if I will finish it. But
Did you ever finish? You did finish Breath of the Wild.
I
the
did
last one,
finally.
right?
So I played Breath of the Wild up until I got to the castle, was about to fight Ganon, and then I started it over again. Calamity Ganon. And then I started it over again on a whole nother account and redid all of it, and then I beat Ganon.
Yeah, I can see that.
So I just didn't want to, like, end it.
These games always have, I don't know, the final boss is like not, I don't know, it doesn't feel like the point of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. We won't do,
No spoilers.
well,
no spoilers.
there's no way to do no spoilers. But I mean, because we have to actually talk about the game. But we're
Right.
not going to do major spoilers.
If you've seen a picture on the internet or if you watched the trailer or something like that, you know, you're going to see stuff that you didn't know from the beginning of the game, but that's the hook of the game, I suppose.
Also, we can't spoil a lot of the game because we haven't played a ton of the game. I played it for maybe 20, 30 hours at this point.
That's more than me, for sure.
I played it a lot. It is, Marvel Snap has not been played since I got Zelda. I'll get back to it. I haven't played any other game since Zelda.
Snap.
Right.
And I'm playing it. My son's playing it. Both my daughters are playing it. Oh, now my daughter from college is playing it. She's going to try to, I guess, beat it before, she's a week before she goes back. So we'll see.
That's impossible, man. Impossible.
You don't think so? The reviewers do it that fast.
I just couldn't. I couldn't enjoy it and speed through it like that.
I don't think she's speeding. She's sitting at home all day long doing nothing.
Yeah, she's a teenager.
I don't know. I put in
I
quite
can
a few
just-
hours, and I mean, you said you put in 30 hours, Tom.
That's over the course of a week.
Yeah.
That's like,
She's not
that's
putting-
already too much. Like 2 or 3. She could put 10 hours in a day.
That's still only double, like not even double what you did.
Yeah, but she's better than I am.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what you,
I don't know.
That's what she was goading out of you, Tom.
Yeah, I guess.
Those
Anyway,
cutscenes are so slow.
yeah, well,
You
there's
cannot
not a,
speed
there's not a
past
lot of
them.
them.
Yeah.
This is a direct sequel to Breath of the Wild, which is widely considered to be one of the best games ever made. It was in my top 10. Actually, it was in many people's top 10s.
It'd be in my top 10.
It'd
yeah.
be in mine. Yeah.
And this is essentially more stuff. It really is. It's a direct sequel. It's one of the first ones they've ever done, I think. They might have done a direct sequel before.
The original, well, 1 and 2.
Yeah, 1 and 2, right.
But they were still so
Majora's
different.
Mask. Majora's Mask was a direct sequel to Link to Ocarina of Time.
This one literally takes place, I think, 2 minutes after the first one. And
I think there's a week or 2 in there.
yeah, maybe there is. They're exploring the castle, and
They
bad
could even
guys.
have a couple months.
But what's interesting is it uses the same land as Breath of the Wild, the same map, but they've added 2 maps. They've added a big giant underground map, which as far as I can tell is the same size as the overland map.
Mm-hmm.
Not as filled, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's Sky Islands, which are much smaller, these Sky Islands that are above, but they are filled. They're very interesting, and there's a ton of them. Ones that range the size of your feet to ones that are the size of a city. And they are at all different levels. It's very similar to Breath of the Wild in ways that you have special abilities, although the special abilities, there's 2 from the original one that are no longer around, the bombs that you throw, and when you hit something...
Or you freeze it,
you
hit
freeze
a
it,
bunch,
you
and
hit
then
it,
it launches.
and then it launches. So I'm actually not even sure
There's not
how to
ice.
fight Lionels anymore, because that was my main way of fighting them. I'd freeze them, and then hit them a bunch
and
of
then
times.
run away.
And then run away.
You like do the weird dodge thing, which I'm terrible at.
Yes.
Always been terrible
I'm
at
so
dodging.
glad they had that shrine that's like, here's how you dodge. And I'm like, got it. I'll
And then
never
I
do it
immediately
again.
forget, yeah.
I can't remember. My way of fighting bad guys is run up and hit them and try to get behind them. So this game is bigger than the original one by a mile. They've also added caves everywhere.
I like the caves.
And even though you are using the same land as the original, it's changed in many places very dramatically. And
Yeah.
that we won't spoil. You just find out. different ways might have spoiled. For example, the desert might be a vast oasis. I don't think it is, because I haven't got to the desert yet.
Sure. Oh my gosh, there's so much to explore in this. It's funny because I haven't done anything subterranean. I've just been trying to go to as many sky islands as I possibly can.
You're going high.
I love that. Also, it's scary. There is one of my favorite things about any Zelda game is that they always manage to do things that are terrifying, like approachable but terrifying. And there's something so enticing about that. I don't love playing horror games that are just on a constant knife's edge of terror. But you're just like roaming around in this game and you're like, what's this? I'm going to go explore this a little bit. I love it.
It does have a good creep effect moment.
So far I'm loving it. 10 out of 10 for me. I like everything about it. I like my favorite thing are so they have 3 new abilities. One lets you shoot up through ceilings and go above them, which has made getting around the land much easier, and you can do some really cool things that are surprising. The other is you can reverse time. Oh no, there's 4 abilities. Sorry, 4 abilities. You can reverse time, which is a really neat thing, because you can move things in weird ways and then reverse it. You can reverse rocks that enemies throw at you back into their face. Then there is a build machinery thing, a hand that lets you move stuff around and build machinery. You've seen this in the trailers where you're building all kinds of contraptions. I felt really bad in this game because I'm really bad at this. At one point, I had to build a cart to drive up the hill and pull with my horse. And I put the wheels on, and the cart was just terrible. It was just being dragged. And I was like, good enough. Everybody get in. And I dragged this terrible cart up the hill.
Oh my goodness.
But you know what? I did it. I accomplished. On the internet, I've seen people making mechs and flying machines. And really, if you like Roblox and Minecraft and stuff, this game is there for you. You can make anything you want. It feels like.
It's unbelievable. Just, I walked downstairs and I saw Wendy doing one of the shrines that I had done previously. And she approached it just completely differently than I did. And I thought, that's weird, because I thought this was pretty much like a one-solution shrine. And Wendy definitely found a much more convoluted way to do it.
Bobsleds, baby.
That totally works.
My own bobsleds.
I was like, oh, that's neat. And then you go into the open world, and you're like, I want to get there.
And there's 10 different ways to do it.
Yeah.
It's astonishing, because when this is an open world game, it's not just an open world game, but it's like there's puzzles all over the place, and it's like an open box of playthings, and you say, figure out the most fun way that you can figure out how to get to there. And I'm like, I will.
I also appreciate that it pulls just a little bit from your previous Breath of the Wild game. So if you have your old save file on Nintendo or on your Switch, you do get a little bit of benefits, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, we're going to get Joey to play it. He's never played the first one, so I want to get a perspective from someone who's not played the first one.
Because this does feel a bit like...
harder.
It feels a little bit harder right from the get-go.
It does.
And it feels a little bit like, you love Breath of the Wild, here's... My equivalent is like Gloomhaven, Frosthaven.
Yes.
This is like Frosthaven for Breath of the Wild players. Like, things are a little bit more tricky, things are a little bit more complicated. You know how things work, so here's some little switcheroos on that, and here's an incredibly robust set of tools that you can use to solve problems that you couldn't in the last game.
Do you feel like it held your hand less at the beginning of this?
A little. Yes, it definitely did, but not too badly. You can still go around, have fun, explore, figure things out. There's one thing that I did not love about the first one, and that was your weapons degradation.
Yeah, weapons breaking constantly.
They actually up that in this game. Your weapons break more often, but they've solved the problem. And that's what the fourth action, which is you can meld any 2 things together. And that means you can put anything on your weapon, you can put anything on your shield, and I do. You can put a minecart on your shield. You put a spear on a spear?
Yeah, and it just looks so dumb. He's like running with this like huge, massive thing on his back.
You know, actually, when I have a weapon that's that big and I'm running, I'm like, no, I can't do this. It's bothering me too much. I put a small weapon on.
It makes me so uncomfortable, yeah.
But it is really fun. And not only do you use these weapons, enemies use them. And being able to customize your arrows is amazing.
I like that better than the like bomb arrows and electric arrows.
Oh my word, yes.
Yeah, we're like, oh no, I'm running low on lightning arrows. I got to go buy some more.
Any arrow can be a lightning arrow. Yeah.
I spend money on arrows all the time. I've never done that before, but I use arrows. I'm using arrows for light sources. I'm using them for fire, for electricity, for homing, for... They got a thing that lets you shoot an arrow forever. You just shoot it and it just keeps going. I mean, until it hits something.
Yeah.
And so that with the weapons, they're just so much fun to use. And that combined with the machinery and stuff means whenever you fight people now, there's a lot more, I think, bases and harder bases full of hobgoblins and whatever they're called, the moblins.
Yep.
But the way you can approach each one is just entertaining. I'm like, all right, here's how I'm going to do this. So I'm going to take this. I got a rocket. I got lasers. I got exploding barrels. It's so much fun, the combat. I'm having a blast.
You know what? There's one thing that I miss is I have not found the sneaky armor yet, and that was always my like go-to standard armor in the old one.
I found one piece of it.
There's so much to explore and find still. Wendy was making fun of me because I was going through the menu really quick, and she said, "Did you attach an exploding barrel to a long stick to a spear?"
It's like, that's a terrible idea.
I was like, I sure did. And one day I'm going to find a big group of enemies and just chuck it, and it's going to be glorious.
Oh, yeah.
I almost never used throwing my own weapon in the old one, but I think I will in this one more.
Yes.
It kind of incentivizes you to do everything that in the previous game you're like, oh, that's a cool thing. Maybe I'll do every once in a while.
Yeah.
You're doing it constantly in this one.
I have one small, tiny negative about the game, and it's the same negative. One of the negatives I have about the first one is it's worse than Florida in terms of rain. I'm getting tired of rain.
But you can climb things still a little bit.
Barely. Yeah, there's armor that lets you bypass that. I'm still haven't found all of it yet to do that. But there are many times where I'm stuck next to a cliff or I'm on the middle of a cliff and it's raining. And so I just put the controller down, read a book for a while, and wait for the rain to stop. I'm like, all right, the rain stopped. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. It's just that rain's super inconvenient.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love it. I have used very little of the internet, and I don't care if I do. I'll use the internet all day long. But I don't even know what the bad guys, the final bosses look like. I use the internet to solve one shrine because I couldn't figure it out. But the other 20 shrines that I've done so far, I've figured out on my own. I'm just enjoying that part of it. Just over here, what's this?
Just pure exploration.
I feel like the shrines are at such a good level of puzzle for me. Because they're not too much. They're not like, oh, I can't do this without the internet. But also, they're just fun. Like, they make you get creative.
Yeah, it's a 10. It's a 10 for me.
That's true. I can start a campfire and fast forward time. I know I can do that, especially now.
But if it's raining,
carry campfire. Oh, the campfire won't start.
You have to find shelter.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's when I get stuck on like those little overhangs on the cliff, and that's when it starts raining. I'm like,
Yeah.
So, anyhow, that we'll come back to it when we finished it a couple months from now, and we'll tell you our thoughts on the finale, or at least after we've gotten stuff.
After I built a couple
in
of
the original Breath of the Wild, when you beat each of the big bosses, you got an amazing special ability. I don't know what this one will do in that regard. I know nothing about it, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Because I really like those special abilities.
We also need to get Chris into the Underdark.
Yeah, go down there. It's fun. It's really easy, too. I've never died down there.
We all float down here.
I've never died once in the Underdark.
It's fun falling
Actually,
down those holes.
if you did like a graph of where Tom has died, it'd be Underdark and then everywhere else. Also, falling from Sky Islands without a glider is pretty high on that list. All right.
Missing the water by this much.
Oh, yes. Too many times.
Get the glider.
Hey, Board Gamers, BJ from Board Game Gumbo here, back on the breakfast. This time taking a look at Bonsai from DBG Games. Kind of an abstract game? Let's find out. I've got it set up for 2 players, so let's get right into it. This game is about drafting cards that give you tiles and also putting the tiles out into your bonsai tree. Whoever scores the most points with a beautiful bonsai tree is going to be the winner. And you do that either by meditating, which is getting a card, getting any resources that might be listed under it, and taking the action or increasing your engine. Or cultivating. Cultivating is taking the tiles you have in your storage. You start with 5, ability to store 5, and putting them out into your tree, following the rules of the placement. So there's only two things. It's super easy to teach. The cards all do different things. They're either going to give you bonus actions like putting out more tiles or grabbing more tiles, or they're increasing your engine, either building up your storage or helping you put tiles out faster, or giving you in-game scoring points. These tiles over here are kind of a race. What they're looking for is matching up to one of these different requirements before anybody else and taking that tile. But if you pass that tile up, you can't go back and get it. If you're going for the bigger one, you won't be able to get the smaller one. And the tiles up here are the ones that go into the tree, and that's what makes this game unique, because unlike most abstracts, it's actually gonna look like something whenever you finish it. They range from 0 points at all from the wood, but the wood helps you build out your bonsai tree, to things like the flowers, which will score you points for everything that you leave open around it. All right, that's Bonsai from DVG Games. Like I promised you, it's abstract, it's puzzly, but it's got a little bit of interaction, and what stands out for me is the way your bonsai tree looks at the end of the game. That's different from other abstract games. Solid game, I liked it. Till next time, laissez les bon temps rouler.
Hey everyone, today on the plastic canvas we're turning my wife's D&D character from Hero Forge from this into this in just 2 minutes. Hey everyone, Matty from the Plastic Canvas and welcome to today's episode of 2 Minute Mini, and today we're painting my wife's D&D character that I created in Hero Forge. So the main thing I want to talk about in this video is painting a mini when you don't actually have any artwork for it to work from. For those of you that aren't familiar with Hero Forge, it's a website where you can design your own minis and then have them printed and sent to you. So you can choose from different races, stances, weapons, everything down to the rings on their fingers. This is awesome because if you are creating it for something like D&D or other tabletop games, you can completely customize it to your exact character. But what that also means, which is what I'm going to talk about, is that you then need to completely paint it from scratch. Now in Hero Forge you can colour the mini, which is how I played around with different colour combos, but it doesn't change the fact that you have a clean slate to work with. So my starting point was to think about her character and to pick out the parts of her backstory that would influence her clothing and armour and other details. She's a half-orc, so I kept it easy and just went with green for the skin. But then even though she's a barbarian, a cool detail is that her character is also quite bougie. This means that she enjoys the finer things in life. So while the look of a barbarian's armour typically isn't important, it definitely is for her. So this detail is the main thing I use when picking colours. So I chose purple as the main colour because purple is quite a highfalutin colour and definitely not a colour that you'll often see on a barbarian. Then to complement that, I built up fancy metallics around it, and I think all of that tied together really well in the end because she looks super tough, but also just a little bit fancy. So if you've painted minis before where you had no artwork to go off, I'd love to hear in the comments how you decided on a colour scheme. And if you'd like to see the full version of this video where I go into all of this in more detail, then just head over to my channel, The Plastic Canvas, and I hope you enjoy your breakfast.
And that's what happened. We talked about Zelda the entire time during those segments.
With a lot more spoilers.
But we got to go back to board games, and we got a lot of cool stuff coming your way this week. In just a few minutes, Z's going to be playing an app live on What's Happening, so join him there, and I'll see you guys at noon. Until then, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Wendy Yee.
I'm Chris Yee.
Don't forget, Top 100 start today.